Good evening. I am here at Oxtongue River Ragged Falls, Oxtongue Ragged River Falls, one of the two, to shoot a sunset. And I've just come across a very interesting rainbow caused by the mist coming off of the waterfall. Let me show you. Yeah, so there it is, that direct light coming in from the side here and hitting this mist at the bottom of the waterfall. We'll get a little bit of rainbow effect, which I hope I can capture in a photo in a little bit. I'm not too sure how I'm gonna get out of here, come to think of it. I kind of climbed over the rocks and a couple of trees on the way in, but the sun is going down and I don't know that that's going to be a very safe option on the way back. Well, hopefully if you see this video, you'll know that I got out just safe. Okay, so after setting my camera up on my tripod, I've decided to take a couple of test shots because this falls is very interesting. It's got very fast moving water and I'm quite close to it. And typically the rule for, waterfalls is that the more water that there is, the faster shutter speed you're going to need to be able to capture it. Mostly that's because it's rushing. It's really coming down very, very quickly. And so the best I was able to get with the settings that I wanted, ISO 100 f16, was 1/50th of a second. And what that means is that I'm basically capturing a somewhat blurry waterfall, just a little bit blurry, and it looks unintentional, like it looks like I've made a mistake. And so I tested both of my ND filters. One gave me 6 seconds, the other one's giving me 1/6 of a second. I'm gonna go with the one that'll give me 1/6 of a second, screw around with my settings and take a look at what that looks like. Okay, so first kind of shot looking at the back of the camera. Let me show you what this did. So this is my 1/50th of a second shot, and it looks like the falls, like it looks exactly like the falls, but it also has a couple of pieces of spray that are like caught, and they streak a little bit as the shutter speed is about 1/50th of a second, so it can't really slow down motion entirely. And so then as I add my ND filter, let me see which one it is. I think it's this one. Yeah, 1/6 of a second at f16, ISO 100. And what I ended up getting out of that was really things get smoother a little bit more, and the water near the bottom here starts to take on this kind of arrow shape pointing to the left side. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to continue to screw around with it a little bit to figure out how to get the absolute best thing, because I do kind of want some of this spray. And this is, after all, the Ragged Falls. I want to show what it is. It's ragged. That's what it is. I am really appreciating this wideness of the iPhone here. I think it might be 14 millimeter where I have 16 millimeter. And in this case, it just captures the entire length of this waterfall really, really well. And frankly, my camera does not. So I'm going to have to position myself in just the right spot to capture everything that I want to capture. Meanwhile, my phone's doing it lickety-split, no problem. So I'm just going to kind of mess around with my shutter speed here. I've got a couple of different tools. I can take the aperture up and down, a couple of stops. I can take the ISO up and down if that's what I want. And I also can darken it or brighten it. I can do more than one exposure if I want to capture something smoother in the foreground and rougher in the background. That might be something that I could do. Either way, I've got to start looking through my viewfinder to really get a good idea of what's going on here. I can see the sun is going to go down in 10-15 minutes. I've got to start working really quickly, as is always. I'll show you the back of the camera to see what I'm framing up exactly, and then I'm going to start doing some blended exposures, probably of something a little faster in these this ragged shoot that's coming down, and maybe something a little bit smoother, a little bit slower at the bottom here. Both should be nice, and when I mix them together, they should be extra nice. I'm very excited for this. Okay, bit of a strange angle, but here's what I've got. I've got this tree right in the middle here that's really being lit up quite nicely by the sun from the side, and it's kind of separated from the rest of the trees that are not being lit so much. I've got this interesting rock that's all sort of broken up, and each one of the small cracks is being illuminated by the sun, by the side light. I've got this kind of interesting rock over to this side, which helps frame up the waterfall, which goes all the way up to these two little trees. And yeah, a little bit of boring sky, but it won't be a problem. And then the main event is this waterfall coming down all the way from here. It's got a gigantic chute over here, and it narrows. And I really like that because it shows that the water is just being thrown down this landscape. And then finally it comes to comes, you know, to this area here where it starts to slow down a little bit. It starts to bubble up. And this is the one I want to slow down a little bit, maybe capture some interesting detail in, but this I want to leave fast. And so the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to do two exposures where one of them is this side of the screen here that you can see, and the other one is that side of the screen. And what happens when I blend this together is I'm going to get the detail in the waterfall from the right side and some interesting sort of, you know, swirls and patterns and things on the left side, but it'll all look like one continuous picture. It's a little bit risky doing it right in the middle of the photo, but I think I've got the skill to be able to do that. So I'm going to try it out, and I'll take one that's kind of in the middle just in case that doesn't work out. Okay, ultimately this is what I have. That is the last photo, and has this sort of nice swirling water here. And then the one that I think I'm probably going to use for the right side is this one or that one. So I'm going to take another shot, which is a vertical shot of basically this scene. It's the only thing that's left, you know, lit, but it's very interesting because of this rock that's in the center here, this one here. And yeah, I've got quite a lot of sky, and the sky really doesn't have a lot going on because it's just blue. But I think I'm going to be able to make up for it with all the other elements in this frame. And I might be able to crop it down a little bit so that I don't show so much of the sky. So this ultimately is what I decided to go for. I've got these this interesting rock that I really like in the foreground, and it's got a little interesting kind of secret stream waterfall of its own. And then I've got the main waterfall. It's completely blown out right now because the sun is still hitting it, but I was able to get a shot, two shots, and I'm probably going to blend together. This one for the immediate foreground, and then this one for the background. And hopefully those blend together in a way that is very visually appealing. And I hope that they do. So as the light fades, I really have to figure out exactly how I'm going to get out of here. As I said, you know, I kind of walked along the shore of the waterfall. It was quite slippery, and you know, being able to see was one of the things that I think really helped me get over there. Now I've got to be able to go back and get over that exact same set of rocks in order to get home. And I want to do that while there's a little bit of light out, because I don't think a flashlight's going to really help me here. Anyways, I got to run. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.